All right, ready to ditch that morning grogginess and feel amazing instead.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect, because this deep dive is all about creating a morning routine, but not just any routine one that actually makes you excited to get out of bed.
That's right, one that works with your brain, not against it.
Exactly. And the source we're diving into today really emphasizes how the right morning routine can set you up for success in every area of your life.
Totally. You know, it's fascinating how our brains naturally form habits.
Right.
When we start the day with intention, it actually triggers this positive chain reaction, making it easier to make healthy choices all day long.
Yeah, I've totally experienced that myself. Even small changes to my morning routine have made such a big difference in my whole day. Okay, so let's get into the specifics. What habits does this guide recommend?
Well, one that really stands out to me is this idea of micro-workouts.
Micro-workouts, okay.
You know, you don't have to be running a marathon before breakfast.
Oh, thank goodness.
Even just 5 minutes of movement can make a huge difference.
5 minutes. Okay, that even I can handle. What kind of things does the guide suggest?
It could be a quick walk around the block, maybe some yoga stretches, or even a few squats and push-ups.
Oh, so simple.
Anything that gets your blood flowing and your mind engaged.
So it's not just about physical benefits, but also waking up your brain.
Exactly. Now, another habit they talk about is journaling.
Okay, journaling.
But not just any journaling, they suggest something called a brain dump.
Brain dump, what's that?
It's basically like decluttering your mind first thing. You just write down every thought, worry, or to-do item that's swirling around in your head.
Oh, okay. So it's like clearing out all the mental clutter before you even start your day.
Precisely.
I can see how that would be helpful.
And speaking of feeling good, the guide also talks a lot about incorporating gratitude into your morning.
I've tried gratitude journaling before. It really does make a difference in your mood.
Right. And the source mentions that you don't even need a dedicated journal.
Okay.
You could just quickly text a friend something you're grateful for,
Oh, yeah.
or simply take a moment to appreciate something beautiful around you.
That's a good point. So we've got these micro workouts, brain dumps, and gratitude boosts. How does the guide suggest we actually turn them into a solid routine?
Well, it starts with building a structure that really works with your brain.
Okay, so how do we do that?
So, you know how you get a little rush of dopamine when you do something you enjoy?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The guide says, tap into that. Choose activities for your morning that you actually enjoy doing.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like rewarding yourself for getting up and starting the day. What kind of activities are we talking about here?
Well, they have a ton of examples, but one they really emphasize is a healthy and delicious breakfast. Not just scarfing down a granola bar on your way out the door.
Right.
But actually taking the time to nourish yourself with something yummy and good for you.
Speaking of yummy, I've always struggled with actually fitting breakfast into my busy mornings.
They have a tip for that too. They suggest prepping breakfast the night before.
Oh, smart.
So you could chop veggies for an omelet, soak oats for overnight oats, or even just blend a smoothie.
Oh, that's genius. I love anything that saves time and makes mornings less stressful.
Exactly. And speaking of creating a positive morning experience, the guide goes into more detail about gratitude practices.
We touched on gratitude before, but how exactly do they suggest working it into our routines?
They suggest getting creative, so not just journaling.
Okay.
Maybe write a thank you note or tell someone what you're grateful for.
Yeah,
Or even just take a few minutes to really think about all the good things you have in your life.
I love that. Finding different ways to weave gratitude into your morning. What else is in the guide?
One more big one is about intentionally setting your goals for the day. It's about making sure your mindset and your actions are in sync with what you want to achieve.
So it's all about being intentional.
Yeah, it's like priming your brain for success. When you clearly define what you want to accomplish and how you want to feel, you're more likely to make choices that support those goals throughout the day.
Okay, so we've got these amazing building blocks for a morning routine. Quick workouts, brain-clearing journaling, a gratitude boost, a yummy breakfast, and setting our intentions. Sounds great on paper, but how do we actually make it stick?
That's where the real challenge comes in, right?
Yeah.
And this guy actually has a whole section on this.
Okay, good.
Their biggest piece of advice is to start small and be kind to yourself. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection.
Yeah, that's so important. I know I've fallen into that trap before, trying to do too much at once and then getting totally discouraged when I inevitably slip up.
We've all been there. The guide really stresses the importance of building consistency over time.
Okay, how do we do that?
Well, they even suggest a technique called habit stacking.
Habit stacking, what's that?
It's basically attaching a new habit to an existing one.
Yeah.
So let's say you already make coffee every morning.
Right, I do.
You could stack a 5-minute stretch onto that routine.
Oh, so you just kind of add it on to something you're already doing?
Exactly. And it works because it uses your brain's natural tendency to follow familiar patterns.
That's actually a really cool strategy. So instead of overhauling my whole morning, I can just focus on adding small, manageable habits.
Right. And another tip they have is to be flexible, to adapt your routine as needed.
Oh, that's good because life happens.
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes we get stuck in this all or nothing mindset. Like if we miss one day, we failed completely.
The guide reminds us that consistency doesn't equal perfection.
Oh, yeah.
It's about showing up for yourself most days
Right.
and getting back on track if you miss a day.
That's such a great reminder. It's not about being perfect, but about making progress and being kind to ourselves along the way. So we've talked about building a better morning routine, but what about potential pitfalls?
Yeah, good point.
What are some common mistakes people make that can totally derail their progress?
Well, according to the guide, one of the biggest mistakes is trying to be too ambitious right from the start.
Yeah, I've been there. I get so excited about a new routine that I want to do everything all at once.
We have a good analogy for that. It's like trying to add 10 pounds to your weightlifting routine overnight.
Oh, go.
You're probably going to hurt yourself, and then you'll get discouraged. Instead, they suggest starting small.
So, baby steps.
Exactly. Make gradual changes you can build on.
That's a much better approach.
You're right.
What other pitfalls do they mention?
Another one is setting unrealistic expectations. You need to be patient with yourself.
Right.
Building new habits takes time and effort.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, thinking you'll become a morning person overnight. Then when you inevitably hit a snag, it's easy to give up.
The guide really emphasizes celebrating progress, not perfection.
Ooh, I like that.
It's about those small wins and being consistent.
Yeah, it's about recognizing our effort, even when it's not perfect. What else?
Another pitfall they talk about is not having a plan for when things go wrong.
Oh, yeah. Life can definitely throw you a curveball sometimes.
Tell me about it. Just last week, I had a flat tire on the way to work and my entire morning routine was thrown off.
Oh, no.
It happens to the best of us. So they suggest creating a Plan B routine.
A plan B.
A shorter, more flexible version for those crazy days when life gets in the way.
So instead of feeling like your whole routine is ruined if something unexpected happens, you have a backup plan to still incorporate some of those positive habits. I like that. What else do they say about dealing with these hiccups?
Their biggest piece of advice is self-compassion. It's okay if you deviate from your routine sometimes.
Okay, good.
Remember, it's not about rigidity, it's about finding what works for you long-term.
That's so reassuring. Sometimes we forget to be kind to ourselves when things don't go exactly as planned.
And they even suggest using a habit tracker to monitor your progress.
Oh, yeah?
It's a good way to see how you're doing and celebrate those small wins.
I love that. Giving yourself credit for showing up, even if it's not perfect.
Right.
So we've covered some great habits to incorporate, strategies to make those habits stick, and some common pitfalls to avoid.
It's a good foundation, yeah.
As we move forward in this deep dive,
Mhm.
what are some key takeaways we want our listeners to remember?
Well, first and foremost, a well-designed morning routine is personalized.
Right, it's not one size fits all.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what works best for you and your own unique needs.
I love that. It's about creating a routine that feels good, supports your goals, and fits seamlessly into your life. What other insights should we highlight?
Another one is that building a successful routine is a journey, not a destination.
Okay, so it's not about reaching some end goal.
It's about experimenting and adapting your approach along the way.
So it's about embracing the process, not just the outcome.
Exactly. It's about self-discovery and being open to trying new things. And one last thing I want to emphasize is the power of those small, consistent actions.
Small, consistent actions, okay.
Even the seemingly insignificant changes, when you repeat them consistently, can have a huge impact.
So it's not about making drastic changes, but about making small, sustainable changes that add up over time.
Exactly. And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive. We'll explore specific techniques for making those small changes stick and creating a morning routine that truly sets you up for success.
Can't wait to unpack those strategies and share more actionable tips with our listeners. Until then, keep experimenting with your own morning routine and remember the power of those small, consistent actions. You might be surprised at the amazing transformation you can create one step at a time.
One thing that really struck me about this guide is how they emphasize that a successful morning routine isn't just about efficiency.
Oh, interesting. What else is it about?
It's about making sure your actions match up with your core values right from the get-go.
Yeah, that's powerful. It's about making sure your morning routine reflects who you are and what's important to you.
Exactly. It's like setting the compass for your whole day, making sure your actions are guided by what really matters to you.
I love that analogy. It makes me think about how often we just sort of stumble through our mornings just reacting to things instead of being proactive.
Absolutely. And the guide offers some really good strategies for making that shift, from reactive to proactive. One key idea they highlight is tuning into your individual needs and preferences.
So it's not about trying to force yourself into some cookie-cutter morning routine.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all different. We have different rhythms, different energy levels, different things that make us tick.
I appreciate that. It's like giving ourselves permission to explore and see what works for us.
Right. And the source even provides some guidance for that exploration. Like they talk about identifying your chronotype.
Chronotype.
It's basically your natural sleep-wake cycle, like whether you're a morning person or a night owl.
Oh, yeah, like are you a lark or an owl? Got it.
And the guide says that if you try to force yourself into a routine that doesn't fit your natural inclinations, you're going to be frustrated.
Yeah, it's like trying to swim upstream.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who naturally feels more energized in the evening, maybe you start your day a little later.
Right. You create a routine that supports your unique rhythm.
It's about working with your body, not against it.
And the guide even has some tips for tailoring your routine to different chronotypes.
Okay, what are some of those tips?
For instance, if you're a morning person, they suggest front-loading your day with more demanding tasks while your energy levels are high.
Oh, that makes sense. So you're tackling the tough stuff when you're feeling most alert. What about for the night owls?
Well, if you're a night owl, they suggest easing into your day with more calming activities like meditation or journaling.
Okay, so tailoring the activities to your natural energy levels. I like it. Anything else?
Yeah, the guide also encourages you to consider your lifestyle and current commitments. Because, life doesn't always fit into a perfectly planned schedule.
Well, that's for sure. Especially for people juggling work, family, all sorts of commitments.
Exactly. And the guide says find a balance that works for you, even if it means getting creative with your time or making small adjustments to your schedule.
Yeah, like if you have a long commute, maybe you use that time to listen to a podcast instead of trying to squeeze in a workout.
That's a great example. It's all about finding those pockets of time where you can fit in little habits that make a big difference.
Yeah, little habits that align with your goals.
Speaking of goals, they also talk about considering your values and aspirations.
Okay, so this is getting deeper than just a list of tasks, right?
Right. It's about making sure your morning routine actually reflects what's important to you.
I like that. It's about using your morning to set yourself up for a day that's aligned with your values and goals.
Exactly. So if creativity is important to you, maybe you start your day with some journaling.
Oh, I like that. Or if personal growth is a priority, maybe you spend time reading or learning something new.
Exactly. It's all about aligning your actions with what you want to cultivate in your life.
I'm realizing that creating a successful morning routine is a lot more personal and nuanced than I originally thought.
It really is. It's not about following a rigid set of rules, It's more about discovering what works for you.
Yeah, and being open to changing things up as your needs and preferences change.
And the guide encourages that. They want you to be curious and playful with your routine.
Oh, it's fun. It's like an experiment, trying different things and seeing what happens.
Exactly. And they also say it's okay to make mistakes along the way.
Oh, that's good to hear, because we all make mistakes.
And speaking of mistakes, they also give some really good tips for dealing with those days when things just don't go according to plan.
Oh, tell me about it. Like those mornings when you hit the snooze button a few too many times.
Or when something totally unexpected comes up and throws your whole schedule off. The guide says it's important to have a backup plan.
Oh, like a plan B for your morning.
Exactly. A shorter, simply version of your routine that you can use when you're short on time or just not feeling up to your usual routine.
So instead of thinking your whole day is ruined, you can still get some of those benefits.
Right. And they also say it's totally okay to deviate from your routine sometimes. Life happens, things come up.
Yeah, you can't always control everything.
Exactly. And sometimes those detours can even be valuable learning experiences.
How so?
Well, they can help you see what challenges you might face, or maybe show you areas where you need to adjust your routine.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's like getting feedback and making adjustments along the way.
Exactly.
You
It's
know,
what makes this whole process so dynamic and interesting. It's not about following a strict set of rules. It's about figuring out what works for you and being open to change.
I'm loving this conversation. It's making me realize how much more to morning routines there is than just checking things off a list,
It's about creating space for intention, self-care, and growth.
and about finding what makes you feel your best, both mentally and physically.
Right. And remember, even small changes can make a big impact. You don't have to change your whole life overnight to reap the benefits of a good morning routine.
Yeah, that's really encouraging to hear. What else?
Start small, experiment, be kind to yourself, and most importantly, have fun with it.
I love that. This shouldn't feel like a chore. It should be something you enjoy. What else does the guide say about making your morning routine enjoyable?
Well, they talk about the importance of including activities that bring you joy and give you energy.
That makes a lot of sense. If you hate your morning routine, you're not going to stick with it.
Exactly. So if you love to dance, maybe incorporate a few minutes of dancing into your routine.
Yeah, or if you're a nature lover, maybe start your day with a walk outside.
Exactly. It's all about finding what makes you come alive.
It sounds like there's really no one-size-fits-all approach to morning routines.
Nope. It's all about figuring out what works best for you. It's a journey of self-discovery.
It's about experimenting and finding what feels good and being kind to ourselves along the way.
Absolutely, because when you have a morning routine that truly reflects who you are and what you value, it sets you up for a life that's full of purpose, joy, and fulfillment.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the how and the why of creating a morning routine, but I want to go back to something we mentioned earlier, intention setting.
Oh yeah, that's such a key part of having a successful morning routine. It's about consciously choosing how you want to show up in the world each day.
Can you say more about that? What does it actually look like to set an intention?
It can be really simple, just take a few minutes in the morning, connect with your breath, quiet your mind, and ask yourself, what's my intention for today?
So it's not necessarily about specific goals, more about cultivating a certain mindset or energy.
You got it. It could be an intention to be more present, more patient, more creative, whatever quality you want to bring to your day.
I love that. It's like planting a seed in your mind that you then nourish throughout the day.
Exactly. And the guide even has some examples of how to phrase an intention. You could say it as an affirmation like, today I choose to approach every challenge with grace and ease.
Oh, I like that. Or you could picture yourself moving through your day with that quality, really embodying it in everything you do.
You got it. It's all about getting your mind and body ready to align with that state of being.
I'm curious, do you have any personal practices or rituals for setting intentions that you found helpful?
Oh, for sure. One thing I do is write down my intention, either in a journal or on a sticky note. Then I keep it somewhere I can see it throughout the day.
Oh, that's smart. It's a little reminder to come back to your intention, especially when things get busy.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing I like to do is use essential oils.
Oh, interesting. Which oils do you find helpful for setting a positive tone?
Well, citrus oils like lemon and orange are great for uplifting your mood and giving you energy. And then lavender is always a good choice for calmness and clarity.
Those are great tips. I think the main takeaway here is that setting intentions doesn't have to be complicated. It's really just about taking a moment to connect with yourself and visualize what you want.
Totally. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes.
I'm definitely inspired to start incorporating intention setting into my own morning routine. It seems like a really powerful tool for creating a day that aligns with your values and dreams.
It really is. And remember, you don't have to have a whole morning routine set in stone to start setting intentions.
Oh, that's a good point. You can start doing it right away.
Exactly. And even a little bit of intentionality can make a huge difference in how you experience your day.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about intention setting. Any final thoughts on this before we wrap up?
Just one. I want to encourage everyone listening to approach this whole idea of intention setting with a sense of curiosity and playfulness.
Oh, I love that. It shouldn't feel like another chore on your to-do list.
No way. It should be something you enjoy, something that helps you create a day that feels good and aligns with your dreams.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. You know, as we wrap up this deep dive into morning routines, I'm really struck by how much we've covered.
Me too. It's gone so much deeper than I expected.
It really has. We've talked about the science behind habits, the importance of aligning your routine with your values, even self-compassion when things go wrong.
Yeah, and you know what's really sticking with me? The way this guide emphasizes that a morning routine isn't just a bunch of actions, it's like a whole mindset shift.
Totally. It's like approaching your whole day with intention and purpose, even a bit of playfulness.
I love that. It's setting yourself up for a day full of possibilities instead of just reacting to whatever comes up.
Right. And speaking of possibilities, one of the things I found really inspiring about this guide is the focus on the ripple effect of a positive morning routine.
Oh, yeah. The idea that these small, consistent actions we take in the morning can have such a big impact on our lives.
It's like those little ripples, spreading out, creating these positive waves that affect our whole day and even beyond.
Exactly. The source even gives examples of this ripple effect.
Okay, what kind of examples?
Well, they talk about how starting your day with a few minutes of mindfulness can lead to feeling calmer and more focused all day long.
That makes sense. If you train your mind to be present first thing in the morning, you're probably going to handle challenges better throughout the day.
Right. And they even mention something as simple as making your bed.
Making your bed.
They say it creates this sense of order and accomplishment that sets a positive tone.
Oh, I totally get that. There's something so satisfying about starting the day with a small win, even if it's just a made bed.
Exactly. And those small wins, they can snowball, inspiring us to make healthier choices, go after our goals with more energy, even be kinder in our relationships.
I love that. It's like those positive actions create this upward spiral, leading to more positive things happening.
And the source makes a great point. This ripple effect, it's not just limited to our own lives.
Okay, so where else does it reach?
It can spread to our families, our communities, even the world around us.
That's a beautiful thought. Our morning routines are about so much more than just getting things done.
Exactly. They're a chance to create positive change that can really make a difference.
And that brings us to a big question for our listeners.
What kind of ripple effect do you want to create?
What small thing can you commit to doing each morning that will set a positive tone for your day and inspire you to make a difference?
It could be something small, like taking a moment to appreciate the beauty around you or sending a kind text to a friend.
Or maybe it's something more active, like volunteering or donating to a cause that's important to you.
The important thing is to choose something that speaks to your heart and inspires you to be your best self.
And remember, even the tiniest actions, when you do them consistently, can have a huge impact.
So take a minute and think about what positive ripple effect you want to create in the world.
And then commit to taking that first step, the one that will set you on the path to a more joyful, meaningful life.
We can't wait to hear about the amazing things you accomplish.
That's it for this deep dive into creating a morning routine that truly transforms your life. Thanks for joining us today.
Remember, each morning is a fresh start. It's a blank canvas waiting for you to create something amazing.
What will you create?